Okay, this week we're reviewing Christine McNally's website. She's a photographer from Warwickshire. Now, first off, I love the backdrop on the logo. The color splash is fantastic. From a design perspective, though, I would do something to separate the letters and the splash, the color splash, just a little bit more. These tiny serifs here in the font kind of fall right into those color splash. So I would probably add a drop shadow or a black glow on the font itself, just to separate it a little bit. The fonts here kind of suffer the same, or not the fonts, the quotes here underneath suffer a similar fate, especially if you scroll up or down. They tend to get hard to read because the arm behind them is lighter. I was looking at this on a larger screen earlier, and it became a very big issue. So if you keep those there, find a way to make them a little bit more readable as well. Drop shadow, or again a black glow, just to give them a little separation between the arm and the text itself. So if you have a large screen, it's a little bit easier to see how that relates. So the other thing is, there's something on this man's jacket right here. It looks like a couple places, right here and right here. I would Photoshop that out. Go ahead and use a clone tool and just knock those things down. It's important to take care of those little things that distract people. Obvious things that should be spotted out like that, or even crooked horizons. That's a big one of my big pet peeves is crooked horizons. This is your craft, and little things like this can turn people off right away, especially when it's the backdrop to your entire site. Now, as the backdrop, I wouldn't repeat it as you do here, and you see it more on a bigger screen. But you could see this is the man's jacket here. What you might do is actually fade out to black so that the edges come out here to here, and then you just fade that whole thing out to black, and then do a no repeat and have a black background. That way, you have this really great image up here, but you don't see some lady's arm over here at the same time. Not sure how this looks like on a phone, if you're using a mobile, but you just want to look at the different screen sizes and what happens when someone's on a smaller screen. I'm on an 11-inch MacBook Pro, 11-inch MacBook Air, and then it looks different on my 27-inch monitor also. So you just want to kind of be aware of what happens with that. So then going down here to the menu seems really cramped, and then when you hover over it, kind of on my 11-inch, the way it's sized, it looks like it falls right into the dress, so it's kind of hard to see the rollover in a couple places. Here, it shifts a little bit. But the menu feels really cramped. Everything kind of runs into each other. There's not enough breathing room and space. You don't want your you don't want people overwhelmed by trying to figure out where to go and which one of these they should click. It looks like it's all kind of jammed together. So give it a little breathing room, and let people see what their choices are. And then it's also again compounded by this area here in the body. There's a lot of choices down here for people to make, and there's a lot of visual things to pull someone over here and over here and over here. I teach people that as a website owner, it's important to guide people clearly through the site without having to think a whole lot. There's places and websites for being cerebral, but not when you want someone to hire you. You want them to not have to think hard about what it is they need to do on your site or where they should go. So most of these options are available in the menu already, so you don't really need these down here. And so like these three, they don't even have options on them. So the person has no idea what they're clicking on if they go into that area. It may be obvious for you that that's a wedding and that's an engagement or a couple or something like that, or that's a portrait, but it's not necessarily for your users and your visitors who may just be first time photography shoppers, right? And they may not know all that. So you want to spell it out to those people. And like, this one disappears when you hover over it. So what's going on there? The photo shifts too a little bit. This one's a different color than anything else on your site so far. So favorites. Why would I want to go to your favorites? What is that? What is that for, right? So, give some thought to what people don't know, or what they just don't have any clue in what it is that they're doing. Okay, if you notice here, the social icons that you have, they actually click through right into the same page. What I would do is have them launch into a separate page or a separate tab, so that people don't have to click back to your site. They never leave your site. You can have a very pretty and sophisticated website, and at the same time have it be something that's very intuitive. But don't trade usability for looks. I've seen many photographers with ugly websites that are very, very busy with clients and that sort of thing. So don't trade usability for a really just a pretty site. All right, so let's go ahead and go into the About section here. Okay, so the first thing I notice, we'll wait for that menu to load in there. So the first thing I notice on the About page is everything is different, right? The menu is now switched over here, and in fact, the menu here actually doesn't have the same menu items as the front page did. So what this does is it causes friction for your users. It's a subtle thing, but you don't want your visitors and your users to experience friction. It adds up, and people leave your site without contacting you often. Oftentimes they can't put their finger on the reason why, but it's things like changing the user experience like that on them. They get frustrated, and when they expect one thing, but get some other type of experience. So I would stick with one menu, and the most common area for menu is in the header. So I'd recommend making that change there. It just makes things so much easier for you and your user. I can't say this enough. Make it easy for people to hire you. All right, now the sidebar in general is just that everything in the sidebar is a distraction from the page. Your users don't need to check out your favorite blog posts. You don't want them to come down here and click on this and leave your site, to go to Pinterest or Google+. And here it says you have 20 followers on Google+. That's not something you really want to advertise, especially when you have 8,000 people here on Facebook. There's it's not really doesn't benefit you by having something that says 20 followers on there. Google+, if you don't have a following, if it's not a good source, just dump it. Don't chase the thing because you think it's supposed to be good for SEO or some other reason, right? Go where your followers are. Go where you spend your time. Let's see here. So again, all that stuff in the sidebar just takes them away from reading the content in the page. In this case, it's your About section. They want to get to know you, but when you throw all this stuff over here, it's just a distraction. It gets in the way from that. So as far as the About page, this is not based in design or SEO or anything, but everyone does these random facts about me, or I love such and such, and Everyone does those types of about pages. It's not clever. It's not unique. My opinion is it's way overdone, and you should put some real thought into your about page. You have these great images here where you have your eyes are connecting with the user. You see this picture here where it's clear you're a sensitive person, and then there's a disconnect here. This random facts are so surface. Let people get to know this person here. Draw them in. Have it be real. Have it be, emotionally connecting with people. You can pepper this stuff in there, but have that be an about where it really is about you, about that sensitivity to the photography. You talk about obsessed with making beautiful photographs. Where's that come from, right? Dive in deep. Where's this stuff come from? And then people will read that and get really connected. One of the things I'll recommend is to take these photographs and split that up into 2 photographs again, and have them align left and right, and learn to use WordPress and formatting images with your text, so that people can it gets peppered through the text and create something. Something I just kind of come to mind right now is this text is really small. Go up a couple points so that people can read that and they don't have to squint, right? I just realized it's very tiny text right now. So I don't know what size that is, but go up a few points so that people don't have to strain to read that. Let's see here. As far as the about, why that's important is you're the product. You're selling you, not photographs. Photographers have a hard time wrapping their head around that. You're the product, not your photographs. Let your clients know what they're getting when they come to you. Okay, so that's, I'm going to go back to the main page because it's just I don't know if I'm going to get the same menu experience. So I'm going to click on portfolio here. So the thing with the portfolio page is here it's a little unclear because you have these 3 pages or these 3 photos. They're all one, but your users don't know that. And so it's a little clear, like if I click here, what's going to happen? If I click here, what's going to happen? So I came to the portfolio page. Do I click this? Oh, look, I can click this too. So make it a little easier for people to understand what they're supposed to click. So I can click Love Shoots here, but when I hover over this image, I don't get the link. So you want to make that consistent, when you do these types of pages. I'd also give this a little separation if you're going to use this, style of indicating what what your portfolios are. Again, with making sure that people don't have to think too hard. I'm not quite sure what Love Shoots are. Is it engagement sessions? I can see it's couples, but why is that something I would want to look at? You kind of explain it for people. It was Love Shoots, in parentheses, engagement sessions or couples or something like that. Love Shoots is kind of a unique terminology. Maybe that's something that you call it. The danger in creating a new terminology or something that's unique to you is that someone who doesn't know what it is, they need to explain. It needs to be explained to them on some level to those people. When Gesture Rocks came out with Beloved, he had to explain to people what that was. It's a couple session where they shared intimate thoughts, right? But it still had to be explained. He didn't just call it Beloved and then made people guess what it is, right? So go ahead and maybe just couples or engagements or whatever those sessions are really supposed to be. Make it so it may be in parentheses. It just spells it out for people a little bit easier. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, if I go back to that and then just go back into the portfolio. If I click on, one thing I noticed here was that you have comments on. Now, just go through all your pages and turn off comments. It really should be this by default. I wanted it to be default for years. And I just checked the WordPress track, and they'll actually be doing it on the next version in 4.2. And so in a couple months, WordPress 4.2 will come out, and the default will now be that pages don't have comments turned on. So, but in the meantime, just go through and go to all your pages and turn them off. There's nothing worse than seeing comments on your pricing page or having someone write a comment when they meant to contact you for a wedding and you ended up missing it. So you don't want that. Okay, now if we go to FAQ, the FAQ page is fine. Like I talked about adding photos left and right, this would be a really good place for it. If you add small photos here and align them left and right so that the text wraps around them, it breaks up a very wordy page. There's just a lot of text here, and looks like you got a comment here also. Yeah, see, she was planning a wedding. Not sure if you got that one or not. Hopefully you did, but turn off comments so people can't do that sort of thing. And at the very least, delete the ones that you've taken care of. But no one needs to have comments on their FAQ page. Okay, let's go to the pricing page here. Okay, so this page here. So right away, there's your call to action here shrinks. The first line of text here, it shrinks to a little even tinier text. But this is your call to action. It says if you want to get in touch, use the contact form, but it's so tiny. That's your call to action. You want that to be usually your biggest text. So definitely get that taken care of. Now the image here, right off, it's a problem that it's an image. There's none of this text is searchable. So I'd consider making this a PDF and sending it to the people that are interested in your services after they contact you. On the page, you can always have a starting price or a starting at with some basic info about what you include. And then when when they contact you and they're interested in getting details, you can send this to them, and then you have them on your radar, right? On this, I'd make things a touch clearer. Like these are actual, like each of these is a package. Like maybe you have like 1, 2, and 3, or vice versa, and the price is next to it. But looking at it just from a design point of view, it's a little unclear that these are actual packages. You can put package 1, package 2, package 3, whatever. And just kind of clear that up for people, so that they're calling it something other than the price, which you will kind of want to stay away from anyways. You don't want to be the base. You don't want to have your clients basing you on price. Like, oh, let's get the $13.49 package. No, let's have them get the. I'm not a big gold, silver, platinum type of a fan, but have them be like, oh, can we get package 1, or the gold package, whatever floats your boat. Let's see here. So then, in this section here, again, it all comes down to clarity. So this all-day digital collection, is that something different than what's up here? Is there a reason it's digital? Do you shoot film as well? In the it's kind of like that sort of thing kind of raises a lot of questions. You want to take questions away from people. You want to have things be really clear and not have them like, well, does she shoot film normally, or like that sort of thing. Like here in the extras, you say additional hours, but you say that's an all-day package. So are your packages not all day? That sort of thing. So, I think, just again, the clarity. You want to be really clear. Down here, other package options available too. I'd really get a strategy together for your pricing. It seems, like, well, if the other package options are available, why don't you show them? Or, even just starting at price is really good. Right now, I think it's a bit all over the place. And you want to be clear no matter which way you go. If you're going to list your packages, or if you're going to have just a starting at price, be very, very clear so that even your grandma can figure out, the page and how much it costs to hire you and what you get. It just seems like, there's a lot going on here. And I would just really clarify that. It's all about clarity here. Okay. So then the contact. So I'm not a fan of ProPhotos contact, the pop-down contact form at least. You see, it acts really buggy a lot. If you're on a tablet, it could be, different. If you're on a phone, you may not even see the contact form. So what I really prefer is having it be a separate page rather than this little drop down thing. In the ProPhoto options, you can actually say it should be a separate page so that when you click on contact, it takes you to a page. That's far more preferable. Or even something else that I prefer even more is using gravity forms or another contact form. Those are definitely like the best way to go, really. But this works. It comes with ProPhotos, so go for it. I'd be really interested in hearing how people actually fill this out. On one hand, you have some of this extra stuff, but on one hand, it may be that people feel, the people that fill this out are the type of client that want to work with you and that you work well with. I'm a grumpy old man, so I have no interest in, telling you how my wedding is going to be or 3 things that describe me as a couple. I love my girlfriend. She's awesome. But seriously, if I'm filling this out, I'm going to leave this and this. And I might fill in budget if I don't put like a bunch of zeros or something. But some people that fill that out might be the type of people that really get along with you. And the ones that tell them how their wedding's going to be and all that, they're really up your alley and the type of clients you want. I would take a look and see if you can figure out what your abandonment is, like how many people get to the contact form and then don't fill it out because you have this required stuff in there. It's good to be aware of that level of friction. People, the more people have to fill something out, the more they're required to fill something out, the less inclined they are to tend to submit the form. So I'd be interested to see how many people abandon the contact form. It's a little harder to do with a ProPhoto contact like this. It's easier to do when you have a real contact page and a thank you page and Google Analytics, and you can see how many people get to what step. Um, if you, because this is one of the problems with the Profoto form like this, when it bounces down, it doesn't change the page thing, so you can't tell from analytics how many people are actually coming to the form. That's one of the disadvantages. But I mean, you can find out how many. Obviously, you can know how many people are submitting forms, and then you might be able to determine how many people are actually clicking on this. If you can, that's great. So then we got the blog here. One big problem I see with the blog is that nothing really changes here. The menu disappeared, but as a user, I may not know that I need to scroll down past this thing to get to the blog, and as a user, I may not know that these things are different than these things, right? When I scroll down, I just see more pictures until I scroll over them, and I get to see, or I hover over each one, and I get to see that, oh, there's a title here. So again, it's more guesswork on your visitors to see that, oh, you have a blog post here. So when I get to the blog post, it's pretty standard. You get your photos, but you're missing a big SEO opportunity here. If you could see when I hover over these images here, you have a lot of alt text stuffed in all these images here, and it looks like it's pretty much the same. It doesn't change, so that's a bad thing. Each photo should have unique description for its alt text, and all that text in the alt text doesn't really amount to a good keyword up in here in the content. So if you have, in this case, you got Eddington Park Hotel. So if you actually mention that up in here somewhere, and up in the title, and even up in the title tag, the SEO title tag up here, where it shows up in the tab, that's all way preferable than to sticking it in alt text, no matter how many photos you have, because all that is something that doesn't appear on the front end. This text does, and this text is far preferable to any alt text there. I like to think of alt text as a fine chisel, where you can pepper in little words here and there, and that are descriptive of each photo and uniquely descriptive. You don't want to use the same description on each photo. So do that. One other way to do that is using captions. Captions are really great. They show up down below the photo and are really good tools in WordPress to add more forward-facing content. So they can be right there, shows up, it's forward-facing content. It's not like the alt text, which is kind of behind the scenes. And then I noticed you have, and I don't know if this is on the other pages, but when I scroll all the way down here, you got check availability. I'd bring that up, like a little bit, like right underneath the blog post. I'd do that. This check availability is all the way down at the bottom, and you got all this stuff in between that and the actual blog post. And some people comment, some people don't, but you really want people, after reading that blog post, to contact you. That this blog post here is to bring in additional traffic from search engines, but it's also good supporting information, good supporting content. And after they're done reading it, you want them to be able to have a good call to action right here and just contact you. So I'd bring that up. I'd have it stand out more as well. If it's that same color, as everything else on your site, have it stand out, be a different color, be the gold, like this gold, or the gold that you have for press on that main page. Have it stand out so that it grabs people's attention. And then SEO wise, all the content that you have on your page is pretty spread out. You have good content. But if you had like one page that was about weddings, you can have that be, the page with your clear cut keyword strategy. It'd be weddings, or something like that on your down here in your menu. And then bring this content that you have in your about and your portfolio and your FAQ and your pricing, bring all that into one spot and have that be the de facto page for the search engines when someone types in Warwickshire wedding photographers, or whatever it is, the keyword that you're looking for. It'd be a huge advantage for you SEO wise, as well as user wise. So they can go to one spot rather than having to go to separate places to get all the information that they want. So the site is, this is absolutely beautiful. You have a potential for an incredible website. You want to make it easy to use. Just think about people, how they use the site, and then guide them through everything so it's clear and they don't have to figure things out on their own. They really want to hire you. So again, make it easy for them to do so. Okay, I know I tore this site apart, but I hope it was really useful and you got something out of it, and you're able to improve the site, improve the SEO rankings on it, and then improve how people use it. Because I guarantee you, if you do that, people will hire you, okay? Great. So thanks, and I hope you get a lot out of that.